See, just before say Barca game no ever cost this afternoon, I made a tweet, and in that tweet I was clear. Say Football Club Barcelona cannot afford. Say they will drop points again in a week preceding the El Gran Clasico. I said it. I was clear and I was very emphatic. And of course, Barca nearly dropped points, but then Hansi Flick did something, changed something, and brought life back into team and friend Football Club Barcelona. Was a on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Solid stuff from Football Club Barcelona. Solid display from Barca 4, especially given the game that they went on to go and play, and how solid that they have been. Of course, you'll be this on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. So subscribe to the channel and subscribe to the channel. Turn on notification. In the notification, turn on choose all. So anytime you have content about Wabiano. Over first person now on Sabek Copy Michelle. Let me say a big thank you to the two people who have made this show a possibility. First off, Yesumo Spare Parts Dash Shop. Say car spare parts and quantity in this country, then the best place for you is Yesumo Spare Parts Dash Shop. Nobody is better than Yesumo when it comes to this country in terms of car spare parts. Of course, say entire there, then there's somebody else. But Accra, just go to the Aboso Kai Post Office and call Yesumo on 059-313-8221. 059-313-8221. Call Yesumo right now. Of course, entire now then it's MOB Clothing. Accra, the Aflau Station L2. Aflau Station L2. Michelle, call them on 0200-668-718. 0200-708. Sorry, 0200-668-708. Michelle, for MOB Clothing. Cecilia, let them take very good care of you, pa. Na Bibia, and ya come pa. And for see, next week is a Clasico. Excellent game, and Osha table no they are na Edawa. Barca behind Real Madrid 2 points. I remember this morning emphasizing on the fact that Barca cannot afford to drop points. Why did I say so? Because social Barca team now, Okakobo El Gran Clasico. It's a game that can go anywhere. It is essentially a derby game. You don't want to drop points between Barcelona and Real Madrid, and so you need to make sure, say, at the end of the day, you are within touching distance. So, dropping points against Girona and 3 points. I say, Okosa game, Madrid will essentially play for a draw. Okokonya sa draw, and then it makes it difficult for Barca to climb back and get a result against them. And this is also a Barca team that had a lot of injuries. Barca and Casa had loads of injuries on players. Players a free international break ever. The likes of Rafinha could not start the game. Robert Lewandowski, all of these guys being injured. Obviously, was going to affect Football Club Barcelona. So the first thing was an injury situation. Second thing was El Clasico, and the fact that Barca could not drop points. But the good thing was that Barca were playing at home at the Montjuic. It was at the Montjuic, so obviously it means that Barca playing now. So Barca able to then there is confidence. Because there is good home advantage, but it was not meant to be that easy for them. It was not that easy, especially off the back of losses that Barca have had. A loss against Paris Saint-Germain, a loss against a loss against Paris Saint-Germain, a loss against team and friend Sevilla. And also, if the Barca drop points now, it would have meant that 3 games in a row Barca had struggled to get a result. Although they left it late, the spirited performance of Football Club Barcelona is very important. The fact that Barcelona were able to dig deep and get a result was very important part for them. The fact that they could come back and then get a result. In fact, later parts of the game, when I see Flick ASR substitutions I kept on asking myself, what does Hansi Flick expect to get from this game with that substitution? But of course, it did pay off. Mind you, it was also Football Club Barcelona that were coming back into a game where Girona were struggling to get results, and they also needed to get results. And Barca knew it was going to be important. They knew that this was a game where they had to go into it and then get the results, play some good football, get the results at the end of the day. Of course, Roger Sheshny and the goalkeeper and other podium Emma team and friend of Football Club Barcelona. Barca went into it with a 4-3-3 or somewhat a 4-2-3-1 with Roger Sheshny at the back. The 2 centre backs, of course, McCann several times say Barca's best centre back pair. For me, I brought your friend Christiansen, I brought your friend Paul Kobasi over there, of course. But Hansi Flick started with Eric Garcia and Paul Kobasi. Then there was Alejandro Balde on the left hand side, of the defense, or let's back on him, and Barbentia for Jules Koundé on the right hand side. Then in the middle of the pack, there was an obvious center midfield pair. I can watch him several times. The quality of Barbentia friend Frankie de Jong, any Barbentia your friend Marc Casado in between the lines as well. Then of course had Pedri Gonzalez playing as a number 10. I mean Casado, Frankie de Jong, and Barbentia friend Pedri Gonzalez. Now there's something I need to see about Barbentia friend Frankie de Jong. For 90 minutes and more, Frankie de Jong never stopped trying. He never stopped trying. Constantly he was coming. He kept on recycling play. I think that in the modern game at the highest level, say oh boy at that level, now say oh you're down, now say oh here yes, sometimes you need a creative output from wide area. You need a number 10 that is excellent to pick up the final ball. You need a striker that is bullish to probably score and anyhow go. But one of the things that we don't talk about is the deep line playmaker in that hole who doesn't stop recycling play. And that's exactly what Frankie de Jong did. Constant recycling of the ball, constant circulation of the ball, constant retention of the ball, constant pushing and finding and probing, finding spaces where Football Club Barcelona can exploit team and friend in Girona. He was excellent. I said about this. I've said a lot of times about Frankie de Jong, and especially on the nights where he had a captain's armband with him, it was total control from Bentia friend Frankie de Jong. Of course, up top, was Tony Fernandez, Bentia friend Marcus Rashford, and Bentia, your friend of Lamine Yamal, Estati El, which is, I mean, a good, starting lineup for Football Club Barcelona. In the first half, what it meant was that Barca needed to chase the game and get the early goal as long as possible at the Montjuic. That's exactly what Barca wanted to do, but it didn't take long. 13th minute, and I bet your friend of Pedri, Gonzalez, Acheampong, all important goal for Football Club Barcelona. That is exactly what you want to be able to get the goal for Football Club Barcelona, to be able to, go into a game like this and get an early goal and put pressure on team and friend in Girona. Up until the 13th minute, Barca were essentially controlling the game, and superb performance from Abentia and friend Pedri Gonzalez, but that did not keep long. In the 19th minute, Abentia friend Axel Witsel, midfielder from Atletico de Madrid, top player, Christian Suani was at Girona team in him. It was Axel Witsel that stood up and got counted by scoring that equalizer. So it means that in the first 20 minutes, the first two goals of the game had already come. And there were good chances that fell in Barcelona. Chance to Abentia friend Frankie de Jong, chance to Abentia friend Frankie de Jong, chance to Pedri Gonzalez. Marcus Rashford came close from a set play. And again, I think that after the game, a lot of Barca fans are beginning to say Barcelona should give almost set piece play to Abentia friend Marcus Rashford. That may be because he is the one that is the best in terms of the dead ball situations for Football Club Barcelona. Once Girona equalized, for everybody in the conversation, it became a difficult game for Barca. Girona for the and then made it a 3-5-2 and a 5-3-2, and then asked Barca to get a journey. Now the thing is that Barca for press was not the best. The press, the counter press, all of those things were not the best for Football Club Barcelona, and that obviously put the team under a lot of pressure. It did put the team under loads of pressure. In terms of the pressing, the counter pressing, turning over the possession, and it's money. It really did. Hit team and friend of Football Club Barcelona, and it was about how Barca can break down team and friend of Girona at that point in time. But Girona so were in a relegation scrap, so they needed to have 1 point to get out of the relegation zone to not be part of the relegation conversation. They needed to make sure, say, at the end of the day, they are going to be part of the conversation they're not going to be part of any conversation of relegation. They needed to make sure, say, at the end of the day, they are right in the mix in terms of the good conversation of Football Club Barcelona, something that is deemed to be very, very important for Barca. Of course, in the second half, Barca came back to try and chase up the game and find the results, when it comes to Abentia, your friend. And you could see, say, Barca left-hand channel one was struggling with the absence of a natural left-footed centre-back. I've said it several times. The defensive job of Abentia friend Inigo Martinez at the back, and then the calmness in terms of ball possession, and then the ability to control and organize the back line. For me, Barca are missing that as it stands now, and Barca really push for it to try to see they can get the results in that regard, and push our players not to come on and come and get a Jordan. But then in the first half, it wasn't happening. Your ball first half, not expected goals from Barcelona is 0.5, and at Girona, a created expected goal of 1.28. What it means is that in terms of chances created, anyone coming close to scoring a goal, Nea Bentia, your friend, Michel, which is the coach of Girona, and then back closest power when it comes there. I mean, the high line of Barca was not functional because of the unexistence of the press and counter press for Football Club Barcelona. Barcelona were not pressing well, they were not counter pressing well, they were not doing their best in terms of winning possession back and turning it over and signing money, man. They were not doing that job well at all. Our Football Club Barcelona, that obviously meant that the first half ended 1-1, and in the second half, it was a Herculean task for Barca to come into it, to come and deliver. How were they going to get a results against Team of Friend Girona, especially when the Football Club Barcelona know that they need to make sure at the end of the day, when your results on big chances in the first half, of course, Barcelona 0 and Girona 3. Of course, Abrante friend Femi Lopez got a job done, delivered, and they played very good in the second half. Barca found the Abrante friend Femi Lopez to come and play some good football and deliver in terms of the performances that you can get from Abrante friend Femi Lopez. Barca came close until somewhere around the 70 plus minutes. And I usher Barca bench Barca free Abrante friend Ronald Araujo to come onto the field of play, to come and play as a striker. And I Ronald Araujo by Barca pro as a striker. Sometimes I feel like we wax lyrical of a lot of the nice words now about football analysis more. But sometimes it's truly about the presence in the box and then the willingness of the player to make a difference. That's exactly what Abrante friend Ronald Araujo in that game. The fact that he got into the box, he did a solid job in the box on him, the box occupancy and the dominance of Abrante friend Ronald Araujo. He did exactly that one and near doing our boxing. Or say after the game, before not to bench, Hansi did a flick Efreni beside and said, is he ready to go onto the pitch to go and play as a centre back? And also, why not? He's ready to go in there. Then a very, very good cross from out wide from Abrante, your friend Ronnie Baji, and then of course Abrante friend Ronald Araujo, a cut across the face of goal and made Barca, took Barca up by 2-1. That was excellent display from Abrante, your friend Ronald Araujo, the quality, and I like the celebration going to in front of the Barca fans to go and celebrate with a stop off, showed all the emotion that I had to show. But of course, on the night, the man of the match was Abrante friend Pedri Gonzalez for dictating the pace of the game, for being in control of everything. After the game, Femi Lopez said, I think that sometimes such matches should be won in this way. It was a very tough match, and I think we missed a lot of chances, and personally I did too. Femi, it was a good match. We fought until the end, and in the end, we scored a second goal. So we tried until the end. It's also true that we're suffering from many injuries, and there are important players who are recently returned, while others are still not with the team. I'm talking about the players that are out of the team, and how Barcelona is struggling with loads of injuries. Of course, Hansi Dieter Flick is suspended for the Clasico. It's official. Hansi Dieter Flick is not going to be in the dugout for the Grand Clasico because of the red card. Pedri say it wasn't a good match from the team, but we came away with 3 points, and that's what matters most. Pedri Porter, everybody talking about him. Pedri say, I think these are moments, these are the most important matches, because when you play well and you win, you are the best and dominated the entire match. That is natural. But on the days when you are not at your level and you don't do the things that you are supposed to do, if you get the maximum points, and that shows a lot of growth. That is exactly what Abrante, your friend, Pedri Gonzalez. Of course, now Hansi Dieter Flick is going to be out of the Clasico. But of course, we are not pressing as well as we did last season. That's what Hansi Dieter Flick says. He says that we have not improved a lot. We need to. Tony Fernandez, pretty pleased with the debut. I was eager for the moment to arrive, but I'm going to keep working day by day. And Flick says, if Flick can trust me, we'll see how it goes. Ronald Araujo told us that he will come on as a striker and score, and then it came true. That is Abrante, a friend Tony Fernandez saying what Abrante, a friend Ronald Araujo, a catcher. So just before saying, I'm watching Madrid against a Tafi away from home. Barcelona have solidified their position on top of the Spanish La Liga, something that is very, very good for of course, before the Barca match, there was the big one of Chelsea. I don't away to Nottingham Forest to go and play against team of your friend in Northern. Nottingham Forest. Of course, we spoke about that game, but then this is some more in terms of players, what the coach said after that. Right after the game, what we heard, and he said Nottingham Forest for coach and friend Ange Postecoglou has been sacked by Nottingham Forest. That came as a surprise for Nottingham Forest to sack their coach Ange Postecoglou. Arsenal cannot win the league. They are not good. More team. That's a lot of people are saying about Arsenal matchup. How many team and friend Fulham of course, nobody really cares about that. Of course, Pedro Neto spoke about the free kick now on Reece James. Reece James played his 200th game in that game for Chelsea Football Club in that time. Now, Pedro Neto say we are watching clips, and normally when you roll the ball from the free kick, he into brackets Marcel's gives a step to the right and try to see the ball to get some space. Reece told me to put it aside, and I like what Reece in the lead up to that. Mekai say when they were having that tete-a-tete, Reece no time when Pedro Neto Nickerson. Reece looked like he wasn't listening to our branch friend Pedro Neto. He looked unconcerned and just looked like he was going to hit the ball himself, but he didn't do that, and that is quality from them. Again, it's a night where Pedro Neto, somebody who has criticized Pedro Neto for a lot of the time, I've said a lot of questionable things about Pedro Neto, and I said that I don't think that he's on that level to deliver day in, day out, week in, week out for Chelsea Football Club. But that was Pedro Neto on a day where Chelsea needed him. 1 goal, 1 assist to get a job done. That is a very, very solid one. Reece James, of course, at the end of the day, that was a captain performance. And I've seen people start talking about the fact that this is 2020, proud 2022 Reece James performance, proud to the injury, the kind of performance that we're seeing Reece James churn out week in, week out, the kind of performance that we're seeing Reece James, produce in terms of the decisive instincts, in terms of the ball striking ability, in terms of the physicality, the technical ability of Reece James from that level. This is the very first time you're seeing that post that injury. It's not a coincidence that Reece James has played 200 games and has come and Enzo Maresca, giving out Maresca has managed him and has managed to make sure Reece is fit and then goes on to deliver our games. Of course, one other player that was super on the day was our branch friend Joshua Kofi Acheampong. And Jean-Philippe Mateta, Alexander Ishak, and then my branch friend Taiwo Awoniyi added Chris Wood to it, added Igor Jesus to it. All the center forwards, some of your big names in the English Premier League conversation, have had a shout. They have had a bite on our branch here, your friend Joshua Kofi Acheampong. And on a night where he needed to stand up again, physically, technically, Joshua Kofi Acheampong was solid in that regard. Played some good football, was very physical, won his 1v1 duels on him, and everybody is giving the credits that he has to get on him. Of course, see, maybe I need to accept that a brand here friend, Pedro Neto is super underrated. Maybe he's actually very, very underrated because of the outputs that he gives Chelsea. But then to Reece James, 200 Chelsea appearances, 1 goal, 1 assist, 1 dribble, 1 block, 1 clearance, 1 interception, 5 recoveries, 4 over 6 duels won, 0 fouls committed by Brent friend Reece James. After the game, when we saw any Brent friend Joshua Acheampong, they asked Reece James, say, when he looks at a brand here friend Joshua Kofi Acheampong and then what he brings to the team, the quality of the team and his animal, where does he see Acheampong? No, see, Charlie, Acheampong is one of the best players that he can get. Acheampong plays good football, delivers in terms of performances week in, week out. But it's time for him to pick up his opportunity and get a job. That Enzo Maresca did mention, say, Joshua Acheampong, he's a top level centre back. And he has a good future for him. And he said, Acheampong, I say, this is a surreal moment, a proud moment for me and my family. I want to thank God. That is how Joshua Acheampong after the game. And of course, Reece James got that well-deserved man of the match. And of course, that was when our brand here friend Enzo Maresca, Eshe fans more. Now I am very, very emotional and waiting for that particular goal to come. Of course, it did come. From first of Abrantia, your friend Joshua Kofi Acheampong, backed up by Abrantia friend Pedro Neto. That's something that's solid power. After the game, now Enzo Maresca, it's in the dugout of Nottingham Forest, all congratulating the players. Player Biaba, no man a big congratulations, no man a hug. Mr. Val William, Reece James, all of these players, and a solid congratulations from their coach Enzo Maresca, and then an excellent hug from them. And like I said, it's in games like this, it essentially comes down to gathering momentum and then growing with the momentum. A very, very important part when it comes to Enzo Maresca and any team. Giving how they want to go into games and then get a job, and that is something that they needed to sort it out. On beside Enzo Maresca said, what do you need to do with Wesley Fofana as what we have done with Reece? Now Reece is playing 3 games a week. He is fit, and it was because he asked him about Bentia friend Wesley Fofana, and also he needs to manage Wesley. Person forcing Wesley back, and on managing Wesley, he'll be able to play with Wesley Fofana 3 games in a week. He said same for Bentia, your friend Romeo Lavia said it's not time to play those games, those players, 90 minutes, and on a night where Chelsea injury list, has taken Chelsea corner out, but then still, practically, Chelsea players deliver week in, week out. So for me, I think that it's an excellent performance from Chelsea Football Club. Joshua solidly getting the job done. We talk about every time about Abrante's friend Paul Kubasi and how good Paul Kubasi is, and Joshua Acheampong also definitely can deliver in that regard. On beside first Maresca on the sacking of Abrante's friend Ange Postecoglou, and Maresca said, Charlie, the business that they are in, before we start, we say, when you wins 1, 2, 3, and here and so he tends to understand. But then again, maybe he felt like Ange Postecoglou needed more time. He said that I didn't speak with Ange. I didn't see him. I feel sorry for him. This is a business. If you don't win games, the consequences are the same for everyone. I'm sorry for him. Enzo Maresca on watching from the stand. It's a very bad feeling to be there. I prefer to be in the dugout. We struggled in the first half. Second half, we were better. We could do better in terms of the red card. We can avoid that. The desire of the players not to concede a goal was important. They were shouting at each other not to concede in the final few minutes. It's important that they did that. For me, I like it. I like the fact that the players were not silent with each other. They were very, very vocal with each other. They were pushing each other to say that we just cannot concede in this minutes of the game. We need to push it up. We need to make sure so we don't concede any goals or the final minutes of the game. And that's what Enzo Maresca was talking about. And also, the team selection today, I always try to do my best. Sometimes I'm wrong. Sometimes I get it right. We knew Romeo wasn't going to play 90%. Moy couldn't either. We started with Romeo and left Moy on the bench. Ghana was fantastic against Liverpool, so we needed to reward him for the job that he did over there. And also, I see that on a champion, the performance and McGee impact. Of course, I think that's one other player that deserves a lot of commendation. Our bench friend McGee as well. And like I said, I think Enzo Maresca has managed McGee pretty well, knowing when to play him, not forcing him into games, and understanding that he needs to feed him in small. And then he played like a proper centre forward. And maybe in Chelsea subsequent games against Ajax Amsterdam, it looks like McGee will start because Joao Pedro can't put any available. And McGee will definitely have to take the opportunity, take that chance, and probably go in and deliver, because Joao Pedro is going to be absent, Cole Palmer any on him, Liam Delap any on him, and then of course there's a big chance for my friend McGee to come in and deliver on him. On besides Maresca said, what was his halftime message? Was halftime he told the guys, say, off the ball, we are good off the ball and on the ball, but we are not good enough. We give the ball away way too much. It was a little bit lazy mistake that we can avoid. In the second half, we adjusted something tactical. Sloppy, not lazy. We looked sloppy in build-up. That's a sad word. I say, Charlie, non-native English speakers that thought they were very was sloppy, not lazy. What was it? Maresca on Fernandes and Fofana absence. Enzo has a small problem, but we are not able to see if he's available for Ajax. West we are just trying to protect him. I really like West, and he's going to play games, but we are just protecting him. I'm sure when he told Wesley Fofana was not excited or enthused about the fact that Enzo Maresca was not going to start him. Guys, let me draw the curtain on Fiifi-Manfred on YouTube. Thank you very much for choosing us. See you. Bye-bye.